Skills and experience don't predict great hires, but that's what most small business owners screen for. So if you've ever hired someone who looked perfect but was gone 90 days later, it's because you focused on the wrong thing. And now you're not only frustrated that your hires don't work out, you're also burning time and money on the wrong people. And that makes growing your business feel hard. And I know this because I've helped more than 100 service businesses hire more than 500 people. So in this video, I'll walk you through the 5 traits that actually matter if you want to build a team where people stay. And the first trait is likability. And I know that sounds obvious, but stick with me for a second. I want you to think about the last time you hired someone who looked great on paper. Think about the person that ticked every box. You know, the person who is qualified, who's experienced, and has everything you need. But you just didn't really click with them. And because of that, you didn't put in all the time, effort, and train you could have. In other words, you didn't go all in for them, and as a result, they didn't go all in for you. And so they never produced the results you hoped they would. Now think about someone else, someone who was less qualified, who looked less good on paper, and who was maybe even less experienced, but who was somebody you genuinely liked. If you're like most business owners I know, you probably went above and beyond for that person. You invested in them, and they ended up producing surprisingly good results, and maybe even better ones than the first person who was more experienced. And the thing is, that's not a coincidence. When you like someone, you put in more effort. You might even fight for them, and people feel that. The same way they feel the connection, they feel the absence of it too. So hire people you genuinely like, because you're going to be spending 8 to 10 hours a day with these people, so you might as well build a team you enjoy working with, because when you do, growing the business stops feeling hard and becomes a lot more fun. The second trait is curiosity. The easiest way to understand why curiosity is such an important trait is to think about what happens when people are the exact opposite of curious. If you've ever had an employee who constantly asks you what to say or what to do, whether it's to a client or a vendor or in situations that they've already handled before, you know how draining that is. And those people never move without you, and because of that you end up constantly holding their hand, and it kind of feels like you're babysitting an adult. And the worst thing is when you ask them why they handled something in a certain way and you get answers like, "Nah, I don't know," or "Oh yeah, that's a good idea, I didn't think about that." The truth is that that's not a knowledge gap. What you're noticing here is a curiosity gap, because curious people don't wait to be told what to do. They just dig in, they look things up, they try to figure things out because they want to understand how things work, and because of that they show up with new angles and new solutions and also new ways of handling a thing, and sometimes these are also things you haven't thought of. And you know, curiosity and creativity are very often linked. So if you hire a curious person, you will most of the time also get a creative one. The third trait is hiring people who are prepared, because let's be honest, as business owners, there aren't a lot of things that piss you off more than having an employee that's winging it in front of a client or a prospect or during a team meeting. And it pisses you off because you know that they are delivering a result that's less than what they could have done if they prepared correctly. It makes you, it makes them, and it even makes your company look bad. So if you want to spot these people when you're hiring, the easiest thing you can do is just ask them what they know about you, what they know about your company, what they remember from looking at your website, and that will show you the level of preparation they put into the interview. I'm sure you heard before that the way someone does one thing is also the way they do multiple things or other things. Well, if they didn't prepare for the interview, what makes you think that they will prepare for a client meeting or other important things when you're working together? The fourth trait is coachability. I mean, have you ever hired someone who didn't adapt to your company or to your culture or to the way you were doing things, and most importantly, who knew everything better? And if you did, you already know that that's a problem, because they end up frustrating everybody, including you. A couple of years ago, I hired a so-called A player from a competitor, and on paper it was The kind of hire, that made me so excited that my eyes rolled like, the little dollar signs you see in cartoons. Yeah, well, that was literally what was happening to me. I mean, that person had a super great resume and they were working in the exact same niche I was working in. The thing is that that person didn't want to change anything about the way they were working, and they kept comparing the way I operated and my business operates to how they used to do it before. And because of that, I got stuck in endless conversations about why they should have had a more open mindset and try our way of working, because we were also successful at doing our thing, but that person just didn't want to hear anything about it. A couple of months later, I hired a junior who executed everything I asked him to do. And yeah, long story short, the junior ended up producing much better results than the so-called A player I hired before, and he cost me half the salary. In the end, I let the first person go because I was tired of having the same conversations all over again, and the other people on the team were too. Now, one last thing I want you to get about coachable people is that being coachable is a great skill. Because when you take their knowledge and their attitude and everything, and you add your training, your systems and your tools and whatnot, it doesn't just add up, it multiplies the result you get, which is a very, very good thing. Now, the first 4 traits were all about who the person is. But this last one is about understanding what makes them tick. The 5th trait is being reward driven. You see, I talk to a lot of business owners every week, and there's one thing that's common with almost all of them. They don't know what motivates their teams or certain people inside their teams or business. For example, I was working with a client a couple of months ago, and his business developer was behind target. And my client tried hammering on paying more commissions and giving him bonuses and whatnot, but the business developer didn't want more money. And my client felt stuck because he didn't know what to do with a business developer that wasn't money driven. So I advised my client to just sit down with him and ask what would actually motivate him to get back in the saddle. The business developer told my client that he was tired and that he was scared that he would burn out if he continued like this, and he just wanted more time off. So my client went from offering him a bigger bonus to offering him a week of paid time off if he hit his quarterly target. That put the wheels in motion, and the business developer ended up hitting his target, and my client was happy because he was back on track revenue-wise, and his business developer had a week of vacation to enjoy after all his hard work. So, before you hire someone, make sure that you know what motivates them. I mean, is it the opportunity to grow? Is it the money? Is it the freedom? Is it the status? Whatever it is, make sure you find out during the interview. That way you know beforehand that you're hiring people you can actually offer things that motivate them. Now, if you look for these traits when hiring people, you'll notice that building a team becomes a lot easier. You might have to interview more people, but at the end of the day, what do you prefer? Having to interview more people to find the right one, or giving people chances, hoping it will work out and then being disappointed in the end? Now, there's one thing we didn't talk about, and it's the kind of person you need to hire, because everybody will tell you to hire A players and whatnot, but that's not true. If you want to know who you need to hire next to make sure your business grows, watch this video next. I'll show you who to hire and how to make sure they choose your company and not your competitor.